welcome to the Narrowing Path, Walking the Spiritual Walk. My name is Steve Van Eiderstein. Thank you all for joining me today as we go through today's reading, May 12th, of James Allen's Daily Meditations. This has been quite a impactful, powerful month, and I'm looking forward to see how it continues to shape up and progress this month. So today's following a couple pretty hard acts, to be honest with you. You know, there's been a lot of great meditations this month, so I'm looking forward to it. So here we go. May 12th of James Allen's Daily Meditations, and this will be fresh to you and fresh to me, meaning this will be the first time I hear it on the podcast with you as I read it. So you get my genuine response, reactions, observations, and what I relate to about the reading. So here we go. The gospel of Jesus is a gospel of living and doing. That Jesus was meek and lowly and loving and compassionate and pure is very beautiful, but it is not sufficient. It is necessary that you also should be meek, lowly, and loving, and compassionate and pure. That Jesus subordinated his own will to the will of the Father. It is inspiring to know, but it is not sufficient. It is necessary that you, too, should likewise subordinate your will to that of the overruling good. The grace and beauty and goodness that were in Jesus can be of no value to you, cannot be understood by you, unless they are also in you. And they can never be in you until you practice them. For, apart from doing, the qualities which constitute goodness do not, as far as you are concerned, exist. Pure goodness is religion, and outside it, there is no religion. This is all about the action. This is all about the practice. This is all about the implementation of the principles that we talk about here, of the principles that we were illustrated by the writings of Jesus. This was to practice that spiritual lifestyle is a religion, right? It is a devotion. And so now people are going to say this is a religious podcast, but no, it's really just spiritual, because it's spiritual and it requires action on our part. And that would sometimes be the definition for some of religion, really. But it's so true. It's so absolutely true. I can read every book I want to. I have every conversation I want to, and do every single little thing to put me in a position to comprehend it, but I will never truly understand it until I've practiced these principles, until I've actually gone through and done the work to practice these principles. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm really looking forward to how my life develops practicing these things. So here we go. Let's go through it again. The gospel of Jesus is a gospel of living and doing. I think that's the emphasis on this, actually. The gospel of Jesus is a gospel of living and doing. Living and doing. Behaviors, actions. That's what we're talking about today. That Jesus was meek and lowly and loving and compassionate and pure is very beautiful, but not sufficient. And that's just knowledge. That's just to know. That's just to superficially read the story of Jesus Christ, right? To not take the lessons really out of it. Not to, or maybe you'll learn the lessons, but you won't apply the lessons. There's a lot of people that want to pursue a spiritual lifestyle and continue to read and grow, or continue to read about a spiritual lifestyle and spiritual living, but never do. Never take the action. So, just knowing is not sufficient. It is necessary that you also should be meek and lowly and loving and compassionate and pure. So we should be striving to have the same qualities that Jesus did, is what he's getting at here. Live a Christ-like life. Have a righteous ideal to work towards. We can't just go, oh, Jesus covered that for me, I'm all set to go. No, we have to work towards it in our day-to-day living. We have to practice these principles every day. That Jesus subordinated his own will to the will of the Father, it is inspiring to know. Again, look, Jesus went against his own personal feelings and beliefs, and he followed the will of his higher power, the will of God, the will of his Father, as he calls it, right? It is inspiring to know that. Like, wow, that's a really inspiring story, to set aside yourself and sacrifice for the greater good with genuine intentions and this and that and the other. But it is not sufficient. Again, here we go. It is not sufficient to just know. It is necessary, needed, crucial that you too should likewise subordinate your will to that of the overruling good. That means you live your life, in your thought life, in your physical life, you live it in a Christ-like way. That means you practice the principles we always talk about on this podcast. That means you continue to grow spiritually. That means you do the right thing regardless of if it's the thing you want to do, right? The discipline of taking the right action, the principled action, rather than a self-serving one. Likewise, you should subordinate your will to that of the overruling God. So live your life by a spiritual set of morals and principles. He goes on to say, the grace and beauty and goodness that were in Jesus can be of no value to you, cannot be understood by you, unless they are also in you. Let me read that again. The grace and beauty and goodness that were in Jesus can be of no value to you, cannot be understood by you, unless they are also in you. Now, a pretty stark statement, honestly, isn't it? Like, you can look at Jesus, you can look at this figure, this model, let's say, for goodness and beauty and grace, and you can observe it, and you can maybe even appreciate it, right? But you cannot truly understand it unless these qualities are also in you. And they can never be in you until you practice them. Action them. Bring them into your way of being. This is important stuff. This is what we're looking for, guys. This is what we are doing and striving for on a day-to-day life, is to have a Christ-like character, to have a righteous character, to walk that spiritual path, that narrowing path. For apart from doing the qualities, apart from doing the qualities which constitute goodness, do not, as far as you are concerned, exist. So it's like watching a movie or hearing a song and saying that's a great story. But there's no depth to it. There's no reality to it. It's something someone made up. So, right? It doesn't truly exist. It's outside of us. So until we actually practice these principles, practice these actions, practice these thought processes in our life, they won't become real. We won't see the true value in doing them. We won't feel that connection with that spiritual life that we get when we start living this way, right? As far as you are concerned, they do not exist. Apart from doing them, if you're not doing it, if you're not taking the actions, if you're not purifying your thoughts and your intentions, The qualities which constitute goodness do not, as far as you are concerned, exist. And that was where I ended up falling into, because I didn't think there was another way to live. I thought the way I was living was purely and only the way to do it. How wrong was I? And thank God I was wrong. Thank goodness I was wrong, because I would be in a much worse place if I was. So the last line he closes with, pure goodness is religion, and outside it there is no religion. So the practice of goodness is really the religion. It's the acts of practicing these principles for a pure and honest intention is really what religion is supposed to be. And anything outside of the encouragement of doing that, there is no religion. There is nothing. We strive to practice these principles in all of our affairs. We strive to practice this way of living in every area of our lives. And when we can do that, we can get a taste of that spiritual world, because we are taking the actions. We are doing. So, all right. Nothing better to read about taking action, in my opinion. I mean, that's what this whole thing's about. Action and living differently. Action and understanding things differently. So, that's it for today. I'll wrap it up there. Thank y'all for joining me today, though. I appreciate it. It was a great reading again. May is not disappointing, so I'm looking forward to tomorrow's reading. And hopefully you'll join me back on here. We do have a Facebook page if you'd like to go ahead and give us a like and a follow. That'd be great. And we can continue to put out this content. So thank y'all for the support. Until next time. Thanks.